Good morning again, guys. Still Monday, still me. And no, I'm not trying to bury you with videos here. I just ran across something this morning in my kind of bouncing around the internet, see what's going on, and I thought it was worthwhile to share with everybody. Now, you know me, I'm a firm believer in gathering information so we can be much more proactive in our prepping than reactive. So if we can see what is coming on the horizon, it doesn't come to us as a shock. But I saw a chart this morning, and I want to share it with you here. It's called the 10 Stages of Genocide. So take a look at this. All right. So I'm going to go through these one by one here. And, you know, we can tell different countries are in different places. Australia is much further down the list than, say, the United States. Canada's a little bit further down the list than the United States. Europe is a little bit further down the list. So, you can kind of figure out where your country is, but this is this is a roadmap, guys. Literally, if you look at this, this is a roadmap. So, number one, classification. People are divided into us and them. Okay? We've heard this for years. The 1% and the rest of us. We don't have to get along racial lines, but you can go there. You can go on vaxxed and unvaxxed. Okay? So all over the world, no problem. We know there's been a classification of people. Symbolization, people being forced to identify themselves. Okay. And I've said this for decades, why people identify as African American, Asian American, Mexican American, why they just don't identify as American, I have no idea. But now people have to identify as, I identify as LGBTQ, or my pronouns are whatever would be. So pretty much everywhere in the world has hit stage 2. Number 3, discrimination. People begin to face systemic discrimination. Okay? Yeah. And again, this has been going on for ever. I mean, I'd say decades, I could say centuries, or whatever it is. You take a look at, go back 60, 70 years, and, the trials and tribulations of blacks in the United States, before civil rights and Jim Crow and everything like this. Okay, voting rights, whatever it would be. Now you look at the other side, throw in affirmative action, throw in, what's it called? Equity. I can't think of the current term they're using for discrimination. But it's constant, we have to, I've worked for companies, that government contractors, where the government would not do business with a business unless it was minority owned or women owned or something like that. I mean, those are forms of discrimination. They just don't say it. Organization. The government creates special groups, police or military, to enforce the policies. Now, this is kind of where we start getting separations of different countries. No doubt whatsoever that Australia is already doing this. You see the COVID camps and everything that they have, popping people. There was an article on a woman the other day that was, I think, 26 years old, and she was never tested positive, but she had contact with somebody who had contact with somebody who had contact with somebody, and therefore they threw her in a COVID camp for 2 weeks. Now think about this. Let's just say, for example, this is you or me, and you go have a beer with your neighbor, and your neighbor had gone shopping at Walmart, and the cashier at Walmart had gotten her hair done at some salon. This is literally how this woman got it. Not that example, but I'm this far apart. So because of that woman hairstylist, or woman's hairstylist, I have to go to a concentration camp. Think about that. That's how far they're taking this, all right? So when you got these types of things kind of put together, many of you have sent me maps of FEMA camps in the States and everything like this. Not that they have gotten going, but we've seen like Jay Inslee in Washington is pushing for these Australian-like camps, all right? Polarization. The government broadcasting propaganda to turn the populace against the group. Gee, do I have to go into the definitions of the mainstream media? Okay, the mainstream propaganda arm, I've mentioned many times. I mean, Pravda during the Soviet Union would be jealous of CNBC, MSNBC, and CNN right now, okay? There is more propaganda being put out there by the media to make the vaxxed and the unvaxxed literally hate each other, okay? I mean, all the problems in the world are caused by, what are people called anti-vaxxers, or everything like this. All the polarization, no problem. Okay. Preparation. Official action to remove or relocate people begins. This is already going on in Australia. This is being tried, in the infancy, in, like I just said, Inslee's Washington, or some of these, Austria, Germany, things like that could possibly go in this direction too. They're begging for lockdowns. What do you think is going to happen when somebody violates a lockdown? They're not going to just tell the person to go home. Okay, they're going to arrest them or put them somewhere or do whatever. Okay, but again, you have all these quarantines. You get off a plane, you got to quarantine for 2 weeks. Now, depending on the country, some don't. Some you just have to show a PCR test or whatever it is to travel across borders. Unless, of course, it's our southern border, then you can just come over here willy-nilly. You don't even need any paperwork. All right. Number 8. This is where we haven't gotten anywhere. I mean, if there is somewhere, I don't know of it. It's certainly not being made knowledgeable. Persecution, the beginning of murders, the theft of property, and trial massacres. The closest you are getting to this is maybe the Aboriginal Society in Australia. Okay. Now, we haven't seen murders, we haven't seen trial massacres or anything like that, but theft of property, very stealthily. And if you think about this, if you're thrown into a COVID camp for 2 weeks or longer, all right, what happens to your job? What happens to your house? All of a sudden you didn't pay your mortgage, you didn't pay your rent because you don't have any income, you're not even there, you don't have access to your to pay anything, whatever it would be. Think about your bills, your pets, whatever it is. It's not like, they said, well, let me go home, pack a bag, make arrangements to put my dogs in a kennel, grab my checkbook, grab my laptop. No, it's like poof, back of the truck you go, and we're taking you along. All right. Nobody's gotten this far yet, but we're up to number 7 in some spots. Number 9, extermination. Wholesale elimination of the group. It's not extermination, it's not murder, because the people aren't considered human. Okay? Yep. We aren't. I mean, you tell me. Go back to number 4, dehumanization. All right? Told you about Marjorie Taylor Greene's comments, or the phone calls she got the other day. We're not considered human. We're a danger to the human race. It's your fault. Blah, 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 blah. We need to get rid of you. Exactly like those people that called up the Congresswoman's office. Okay? This is what they want. Extermination. So this isn't beyond belief. This is actually what there are people calling for. That's number 9. And number 10. The government denies that it has committed any crime. Sure. Okay. Could we get there? China and Uyghur Muslims. Government says there's no crimes. Nazi Germany didn't think there were any crimes. Stalinist Russia didn't think there were any crimes. Mao, pick one. This is how it goes, guys. And we are at, depending on where you are in pretty much any country here, somewhere between 6 and 8 on this list. That's pretty scary. Thought you guys might want to see this, just so you know what the roadmap is. Enjoy the rest of your day. Pinball out.